Hello, this is Emmanuel, and the topic of my choosing is Algonquin Moose Moratorium. First of all, I'd like to begin with saying, hope everyone's doing well. These situation that we're all living in is not anywhere close to being ideal, but we'll all get through it. Stay safe. So to begin with, let's try to understand what Moose Moratorium is. It is enforcing a ban on sport hunting of moose in traditional territories to help the population recover from the current state. In this case, we are referring to Lavender Faunic Reserve, which is roughly around 300 kilometers from Montreal in Quebec. Moose has been a vital species for the survival of not just predators, also indigenous people like the Anishinaabe. For centuries, the Anishinaabe, the other indigenous people groups, other native groups have hunted the moose to feed themselves and their families. It's harsh living out there in the outback. But everything was done in a sustainable manner, where a single species was never targeted, nor it had an enormous impact on reducing their population. But over the past few decades, however, the moose populations nosedived to a limit where it was no longer sustainable, impacting the lives of not just people but our environment as well. So, enforcing a moratorium is a step towards banning trophy hunting, which would ensure that the population recovers over a period of. According to Kanheshio Dia, a journalist from Kahanawake, Quebec, members of the Algonquins of Barrier Lake have decided to take it upon themselves and enforce a ban on moose hunting. This has begun roughly in the spring of 2019 and it has continued from then to now. Rapid Lake members, where the majority of the Barrier Lake members live, is located in the heart of Lavender Wildlife Reserve, where the moratorium is to be mandated. Moose hunting season typically starts in fall in the park, but community members have been turning away hunters at four checkpoints set up along junctions of Highway 117. The councillor of Barrier Lake, Charles Rat, calls the hunt a cultural genocide. In the article, he says that community depends on the meat obtained from moose, a key to survival. And since they live in deep traditional territory, the nearest grocery store is an hour's drive away. Emma Louie, another reporter, in her article mentioned that moose populations were on rapid decline. Most of the chiefs and the elders observed that the moose were not calving enough. They were being hunted faster than being born. Shannon Chief, who is a member of the Lake Barrier community, one of the campsites to block the route from the hunters, has explained the plight of the ongoing protest. She proselytized, in her own words, the need for a ban on hunting to be as critical as possible. The people for generations have survived off the produce of the land, and moose is one of the key protectors of not just the environment but also the community, because the community depends on the meat to feed themselves and the family. Recently, a hunting and fishing association located in Mont Laurier, Quebec, filed an injunction petition in Quebec Supreme Court, and the petition was to ask the Algonquin and other communities to dismantle their checkposts along the La Vérendrye Faunic Reserve. Though the community for the second year straight was petitioning for the ban of hunting as they fear the population has already been affected enough that it needs a minimum of 5 years of total ban for the population to have a chance to replenish again. The Quebec government, though, said concerning the protests that only 30% fewer tags were released last year. According to the Quebec's Minister of Forests, Perry Dufour, an aerial survey revealed the numbers to be concerning but not critical, which seriously undermines the plight of the people protesting or why they've been. They've been asking for at least 5 years of total ban for the numbers to get back to somewhere they were before. But the government of Quebec has never really took a straight stand on the proposal. Dufour still maintains that a complete moose moratorium is out of proposal. Chief Casey Rad believes it all takes to feed the families for a year are 4 to 5 moose, whereas hunters take anywhere between 80 to 100, which is every season, which is pretty hard on the population. What does it hold for us, the general folk, for the future? What I have learned while investigating or researching on this topic is the importance and the delicate balance that connects us with the land. Indigenous communities all around the world chiefly depend on the land and the relationship we have with it. Somehow through the ages we have lost the connection. But this and the adamant denial from the government has just strengthened the protests. Yet the protests have been going on for over 2 years. They have still been peaceful but effective. Moving forward, this is how we have to engineer ourselves to fight for anything that's going to deplete or destroy our environment. Sustainable living is the key to the future, and the natives have been successful in implementing their techniques to harvest the produce from the land and everything that lives off it, at the same time restoring and maintaining a perfect balance. And as I mentioned here, the future depends on the acts of the present. How does it concern me? As a fish and wildlife technician, I chose this topic as it directly points at the direction I would like to head out after graduation. The duty of a fish and wildlife technician is to engage in community programs, to educate about biodiversity, the importance of protecting and ensuring that wildlife populations do not get depleted, for the betterment of our society and majorly our environment, because we are all connected to it. Moose, in this case, is a keystone species. A keystone species survival is directly proportional to the sustainability of that particular habitat as well as for the future. Researching this topic also got me to understand the unique relationship the natives have with their traditional homeland, how they've peacefully lived harmoniously while living off the same land for livelihood for generations. Conservation and sustainability go hand in hand, and through the research of this topic, I thoroughly gained much needed knowledge and understanding of my own. Thank you.